my god, look at this car. It's so hot. Red. Look at this leather everywhere. Oh my gosh, it even has navigation. We should go somewhere. Let's go somewhere on a road trip. Like, we can go all the way across the country, like to New York or something.
Hey, honey! Well, at least this thing is silent.
Wait, can I make a phone call really quick? Because I'm supposed to do my
Stop
Brazilian
talking.
wax.
Get out.
What the hell?
Introducing the Node 202 from Fractal Design. It's cool, compact, and quiet. Check the description below for more details. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to give you guys a tour of my new and improved LAN setup that I'm going to be bringing with me to PDX LAN this weekend in Portland, Oregon. It's my second ever LAN on this scale. It's like a 500-person LAN, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's huge. It's supposed to be one of the biggest ones in the country. PDX is known for throwing these huge-ass LAN parties, and it's my second one ever. The first one I ever did was a few months ago, actually, in Seattle. That was LAN Syndicate, hosted by the folks over at Tech Syndicate. I guess formerly Tech Syndicate, now they're Crit TV, I believe. I don't know. Still a better name than Bitwit. Now, not to brag or anything, but for my first LAN party ever, I was actually really happy with the amount of hardware that I brought. I got a fully fledged desktop gaming PC, I had a mechanical keyboard, the works, pretty much. And as satisfied as I was and still am with that setup, there were a few little tiny things that I wanted to change or improve to it. So that's basically what I'm going to be sharing with you today, starting with a look at my old setup, my current setup that I had at LAN Syndicate, and then from there we can work our way forward and check out some of the new things that I've added since then for PDX LAN. Alright, so here is version 1.0, the OG of the LAN party in a bag. So this is where it all started, folks, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I've already done a video on it, but just really quick, running down the basics here. We've got a G-Chic monitor. Honestly, the model number escapes me at the moment, but I put links to all this stuff in the description below, so you can go ahead and check those out if you're interested in picking up any of these products. So G-Chic monitor, it's an IPS 15.6-inch display. It's actually been a treat to game on. However, just the size is not exactly where I want it to be for long periods of gaming. If I'm going to be gaming for an entire weekend at a LAN party, I would like a little bit more screen real estate, especially if I'm going to be doing like some streaming as well. Having extra screen real estate for that sort of thing for Twitch and XSplit would be very handy. So this is going to be one room of improvement for our LAN setup. Also, here's the Varmillo VA87M mechanical keyboard with Cherry MX brown switches. It's also been a really good little keyboard. This is actually Wifey Sauce's daily driver, and I do love gaming on it. Cherry MX browns are currently and still my favorite switch of all time. However, this is also going to be swapped out because I wanted something a little bit slimmer. As thin as the bezel of this thing already is, we've got those 60% or 68% keyboards now with mechanical switches that I just wanted to give a shot. I've never tried one before, so that's going to be replacing this keyboard pretty soon. And then we've got the Logitech G602 wireless gaming mouse. This is honestly just one of my favorite wireless mice ever, just because it's super precise. There's literally zero input lag that I can notice. The only problem, though, is with a big event like PDX, I'm a little bit concerned that having a wireless mouse is just a little too easy for someone to walk by my setup unattended and just slide this into their pocket. So I'm going to be replacing that mouse with a wired one. Of course, you can only improve things in terms of performance with a wired connection, so that's also on the plus side there. But I'm going to be retiring this for LAN Party in a Bag 1.0. I forget which headset I was using. I think I was using the old school Corsair HS1As. Which have been out for like 5-6 years now, and those were really nice. But I'm gonna go wireless this time with these. These are the Sennheiser SteelSeries H wireless, and there's some of the nicer, kind of more high-end wireless gaming headsets out there. It's got a retractable mic somewhere in there. It's also got this wireless box. It uses its own radio frequency to connect. And it sounds really good, and I really love the hot swappable battery feature. You can basically that's the wrong side, but there's a hot swappable battery somewhere in here. I didn't plan this video out very well. Anytime your battery dies, you pop off the side, you take that battery out, and there's a fresh one that stays charged inside of the unit itself. You can just pop that in, start charging the old battery, and voila, continue on gaming uninterrupted. It's a really, really nice solution for battery swapping. which means you literally have zero downtime. And then finally, we can move on to the PC itself. The Node 202 from Fractal Design still remains one of my favorite mini ITX cases just because it's so portable. It's about 10 liters in capacity, but it fits a lot of awesome hardware in there. Pun intended, whoa. But I'm not actually gonna be changing this desktop at all. I'm still gonna be bringing it, still using it for PDX this weekend. However, I have made one change that was very critical to the health of the PC itself, and that was the AIO liquid cooler that I had stuck in here, which was initially a Corsair H55. Oh look, that looks like a Corsair H55 because it is. This is actually the cooler that was initially inside of the Go Anywhere Do Anything PC. The reason why I took it out is because I was noticing temperatures skyrocket to over 100 degrees on all cores, forcing the PC to shut down and freak me out. So I was like, what the hell? What's going on here? So I opened it up, cracked it open, took a look, and noticed that the wire, the pump wire, was completely fried. Now, I don't know if this is a Corsair thing or maybe something got really hot on the motherboard and was just touching the cable too closely, but it basically cut right through part of the wire. And so basically what I was dealing with was a broken pump. It was a dead pump, there was no water being circulated through the loop, and that's what was causing the temperatures to skyrocket and ultimately crash the system. So, I installed a new one. I installed a different one. It's the Cooler Master Sidon. Cooler Master Sidon 120, that's what it's called. So, I installed the Sidon. Granted, it's actually got a slightly thicker radiator than the H55, and it barely fit inside of the Node 202. Just barely. Bear in mind this case is not even officially supported with AIOs, so I mean, I really had to cram that sucker in there. But once it finally fit, it was working out for a while. Mind you, I was actually using it with this fan, 120mm Fractal Design Venturi static pressure fan. Sorry for the bad focus. But the fact that this system is running right now without that fan installed on the Sidon probably cues you into believe that something went awry. And yes, it did. For the first half an hour or so, it was fine. Temperatures were all normal on the 6700K, which is overclocked, mind you, to 4400 megahertz. But after that, maybe after 45 minutes to an hour, I started noticing the temperatures on the CPU getting as hot, almost as hot as when we were using the H55. So I was like, what the hell is going on? Why can't we cool this CPU down? Why is it getting so hot? So let me go ahead and pop off the panel here, take a look inside, and I will show you exactly what was going on and what I did to fix it. So here's a look at the innards. And really quick, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this system, so rude of me for not telling you what GPU is in here. It's an R9 Nano from AMD, but more on that later. We're going to talk about R9 Nanos in just a bit. But moving on to the topic at hand, which is the overheating issue for our overclocked 6700K over there. Now, if you guys are familiar with this fan that you can see I've installed on the radiator, then you probably already have an idea as to what was causing that overheating problem, which was with a standard 25mm thick fan like the Fractal Venturi or any other fan with the same dimensions, and a slightly thicker 120mm radiator like the one on the side on here. With both of those installed in the Node 202 and the side panel closed, or the main panel closed, there's hardly any breathing room between the fan and the case, the side of the case itself, which meant whether the fan is in push or pull configuration, it's not getting any kind of airflow. It's either not exhausting air the way it should be, or it's not able to intake air the way it should be. So, as a result, I swapped out the Venturi for this 15mm thick Scythe Slipstream slim fan. It's a slim fan. I've had this fan for like ages. You can see I actually had to chop off some of the mounting holes here so I could get the screws in there because I didn't have any radiator screws that would fit the 15mm thick fans here. So I had to actually cut that part out. But anyway, that improvement has drastically increased our thermal dissipation and improved thermals quite a bit. So I'm really happy about that because otherwise I don't know what I would have done had this slipstream solution not worked. I probably would have had to go back to using an air cooler, that low profile Noctua that was initially in here, which granted isn't bad for what it is, but nowhere near the performance as a 120mm AIO. So on that note, let's go ahead and fire this guy up again and we'll actually take a look at the thermals we're getting with this new solution. Alright, so we've got the system vitals all queued up. Oh, by the way, I also installed an LED strip. Couldn't resist. Looks pretty cool though, right? So since I'm using one of the Z170A mini ITX boards from MSI, I'm also using their software here, super handy, the MSI Command Center. Use that to overclock our 6700K to 4400 megahertz on all cores. That's running all nice and good, and taking a look at our temperatures here. Again, Unigen Heaven 4.0 that we're running in the background. We've been running this for about 15-20 minutes now, so thermals are subject to increase a little bit more if we are to run this test even further, but this should give us a good starting off indication on what kind of thermals we can expect so far. So on our hottest core, we're getting 65 degrees Celsius. Think about that, guys. 65 degrees Celsius, Core i7, overclocked to 4400 in a Node 202. Like, come on. Come on. I probably have one of the coolest CPUs that's overclocked in this particular case. I'm pretty proud of that. So that's a really, really favorable number. I think we could probably get it lower if we were to increase the fan speed. By the way, actually we can't. I take that back. The Scythe slipstream is at 100% fan speed. It's maxed out. And honestly, it's not even that loud. You can't really tell right now because my AC's on, but that's an indication. You can't even hear it over my AC much. Maybe we can go onto this side. I'm wearing a lavalier, so that's not really going to do much, but it is fairly quiet, especially if you're going to be bringing this thing to a LAN where there's going to be chaos and commotion and ambient noise through the roof, and plus you're going to be wearing headphones and stuff, so you're really not going to hear the acoustics at all. And even when you're not, even in a quiet room, that slipstream fan at 100 is not too bad. So that's pretty much as cool as it's going to get, I guess, on our 6700K, but I'm happy with those temperatures. Now, as far as the R9 Nano is concerned, I've got MSI Afterburner on here, and you can see the only thing I've adjusted in the settings is the power limit. Crank that all the way to 50, because if you don't, well, the R9 Nano is a very power-constrained card, and without cranking the power limit some, you are going to run into some thermal throttling issues, which, if you can see here, we're not getting any of that. GPU core clock's at a steady 10,000, whoa, that's impressive, 1,045 megahertz. Not dipping, it's not going to 1,000, it's not going to 980, it's staying straight at 1,045 megahertz, which means we are not thermal throttling, which is something to be happy about, I guess. And the reason why I'm not cranking up anything else in terms of the GPU core clock or memory clock is simply because I'm going to be gaming at 1920 by 1080 at the LAN, which is, I mean, the R9 Nano is completely going to crush that resolution with pretty much any game I throw at it. Max settings, more or less, across the board. Sure, there's always exceptions and stuff, but for the most part, I'm not too worried about trying to squeeze every last ounce of performance out of the card at this resolution, especially if it's going to mean introducing more heat into our case, louder thermals, louder acoustics, and things of that nature. So I'm pretty happy with how it is right now. I'm going to do some gaming later on, do some testing, and if everything checks out, I'm probably just going to leave it as is. If I see that there's some room for improvement, or if I'm not happy with the frame rates I'm getting, which I really doubt that's going to be the case, then perhaps I'll put a moderate overclock on there. Although I will have to switch from Afterburner to Trix, because currently Trix, I believe, is the only overclocking utility that supports HBM overclocking, so I would have to do that. But enough said about the hardware. Everything is running super smoothly. Oh, I didn't even tell you the temperatures. Derp. Temperatures on, you probably already saw this though. What the freaking hell? What was that? Unigen crashed. Oh no, Unigen crashed. Display driver stopped working. Oh god. What the hootin' hoonan is wrong with this thing? I don't understand. We weren't even overclocked. I mean, other than having the power limit cranked to the max, I mean, since it crashed, I actually took off 5 megahertz on the GPU core clock just to be sure, just to be safe. But that's weird. It was only 76 degrees. 76! That's super reasonable for the R9 Nano. I don't know why it crashed. It could have been just an anomaly, but I'll keep a close eye on it. But the show must go on. If it happens to crash again, I will address it by the end of the video. If it doesn't happen to crash again, I'll also point that out. But moving on, the show must go on, people. So now that we've taken a look at kind of the system and how it performs, which is overall good, apart from that stupid crash, why don't we go ahead and take a look at some of the hardware that I'll be replacing this stuff with for PDX this weekend. So starting with the monitor, look at this. Look at this. This is the bad boy. We're moving on from a portable monitor to a full-fledged desktop panel. This is a TN panel, however, it is very high refresh rate, 144 Hz and 1 millisecond response time, according to the manufacturer, of course. It's an AOC G2460PF. Links to all this stuff in the description below, guys, in case you're curious, want to find out more, or maybe purchase one for yourself. So this is a FreeSync panel. It's got FreeSync. FreeSync panel. Guess how much I paid for it? $200. $200 for a FreeSync 144 Hz refresh rate panel, which is pretty damn cool. It's 24 inches, so I'm used to gaming on 27 inches at home, except for the Predator. That's a little bit larger than 27 inches. But up until this point, it's usually been 27 inches for me. For a LAN, obviously I'm gonna scale down a bit, so 24 inches. Coming from the 15.6 inches on that guy, holy moly, this is going to be a huge improvement when gaming away from home. So I'm really excited to use this. I do believe it's got both HDMI and DisplayPort outputs, or inputs I should say. So super exciting. Also, I'm going to be replacing the keyboard, as I mentioned, with this Magic Force mechanical keyboard. It's a 68 key, so 68%er. It's much smaller than the Varmillo VA87M there, which is kind of why I bought it. It's just so cute. It's just so adorable. I did not get it in white. It comes in white, but I opted for black because I will destroy white keys in a heartbeat if I have them. So I got the black version. It's got white backlit LEDs. We're going to go ahead and plug that in a bit and show you it all lit up and stuff. It's a very sexy keyboard. It does come with a variety of switches. You can get it in either, black, blue, brown, and it also comes in different brands of switches too. You can get Cherry MX, Gatoron, I believe Kale. I went with the Gatoron Cherry MX. I'm sorry, the Gatoron Cherry. What? The Gatoron Browns, which feel freaking fantastic. They feel right on par with Cherry MX, actually. Just a very slight difference. I can barely hardly tell or distinguish the two. But we're going to go ahead and check that out in a bit as well. I'm going to actually haul this monitor across. And finally, you're probably wondering, how the hell am I going to actually haul this monitor to the LAN in Portland? I live in California, so yes, I'm going to be taking a plane there. Well, let me tell you. I got this thing. This is the Rocat Tusco, or Tusco, whatever the hell it is. It's a carrying bag for an LCD monitor. It supports monitors from anywhere from 20 to 24 inches. Widescreen panels. What do you know? It looks really cool. Looks very tactical. It's got a very nice rubber handle, carrying handle and stuff. And I'm hoping that it fits this AOC monitor like a glove. Now, in case you guys are wondering how exactly I'm going to haul this monitor from California to Portland for PDX this weekend, I did pick up this Rocat Tusco. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right at all. Rocat Tusco LCD carrying bag. It's pretty cool, actually. It looks very tactical. It's got a carrying handle. It supports monitors from 20 to 24 inches in diameter. No, not diameter. In diagonal dimension. There's definitely a word for that I can't think of right now. But anyway, it's a pretty cool bag. The only thing I'm concerned about is whether or not I'm going to be able to actually carry it onto the plane as a carry-on. I did look up reviews on Amazon and other places online, and everyone online is saying that they've been able to take it with them on a plane. But time will tell. I hope that I can bring it on as a carry-on. Otherwise, I'm leaving it behind in my car in the parking lot at LAX because I am not letting someone check this and handle it themselves. They will totally destroy it. But it's a pretty cool bag. It's got some really sturdy, or what appears to be sturdy latches here. You can even put your keyboard inside like that. I don't know if I will because that exposes your keyboard. And also, since I'm using a mini keyboard, it might not even fit quite well. But it's also got padding on the inside so it protects your screen, the screen side. I believe there's only padding on that one side though, but that's the important side. So I'm very excited to try this out, see how it works out, and I'll report back to you guys and let you know how it goes. So on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and set all this stuff up on the desk to give us a final look at all the hardware that I'm gonna be bringing with me to this weekend's LAN. All right, here is setup 2.0 of LAN Party in a bag. Although I guess now that I have a full desktop monitor, it's more like LAN Party in 2 bags, because one for the monitor and one for the desktop. Anyway, looking pretty good so far. Kind of digging how the red accent on the chin bar there is matching with the red LEDs I just put in the Node 202. Fancy. Also, on the gaming mouse, this is my Logitech G500. As many of you know, it's my daily driver. This is what I will be bringing with me to PDX because it's oh so comfy and I love it so much. The only thing kind of killing the overall theme here is the yellow on the mod mat. Good Lord, my setup suffers from ketchup and mustard syndrome. But apart from that, I'm digging it so far. The SteelSeries H wireless looks absolutely perfect, resting on the Node 202 there. And in case you guys are curious about this monitor, again, it's 144 Hertz, TN, 1 millisecond, and for $200 or $210 that I paid for it, you actually do get quite a bit for your money. It is a matte screen and fairly thin too. Of course, it protrudes a little bit more from the back. You do get a VESA mount. The stand itself is really high quality. Actually, everything about this monitor is much higher quality than you would expect for the price point. It does feature like full tilt, swivel, and panning adjustment. On the right side of the panel, you get two USB 2.0 pass-through ports. The orange one on top actually supports fast charging, so that's really cool if you're in need of charging a mobile device like a smartphone or tablet. There's also two more of these ports on the underside of the panel, so you get 4 in total. Those ones do not support fast charging though. As far as video inputs, you get dual-link DVI, HDMI, and DisplayPort. However, only the DisplayPort input is going to support FreeSync. I already tried hooking up the HDMI, does not work, which tells me that it's probably older than HDMI 2.0. It's probably 1.4 or older. But that's still pretty cool. I mean, whatever, just use DisplayPort, who cares? Overall, I'm digging this setup so far. However, I haven't even had a chance to game on this monitor yet, so why don't we go ahead and fire up some games. I'll play for anywhere from half an hour to 45 minutes, and then we'll take a look at our thermals to give us a better idea of what kind of temperatures we can expect under a working load in this exact scenario. Alright, so that gives you guys an idea on the kind of performance we can expect with this system. And I'm sorry that I didn't use the most intensive games for that test. I don't actually have all the games that I want to play at PDX loaded up on this PC. I have to do that tonight before I board the plane tomorrow. But from what we can tell, everything's looking really good. I mean, GTA 5 maxed that out, with the exception of MSAA, which still ran at 2x, no problem. Was able to hit, 50 to 70 FPS on average, which is pretty solid in my opinion. I really did like the way everything functioned. Like, the setup works really great for a little portable station. I think it does really well. The only thing that I will say is that this keyboard's defective. I'm serious. The WASD keys are not working like they should in game. Works perfectly fine for typing. But when I jumped into GTA 5, the A and the D were not functioning as they should. It was actually kind of reversed sometimes, or sometimes it just wouldn't work at all. So I might have to RMA this keyboard, guys. I know that's probably a very rare sight and doesn't paint a good picture for this Magic Force board here, but I'm hoping that it is just once in a blue moon occurrence for their QA process. Apart from that, everything else works flawlessly. The monitor is great to game on. The color is actually not even bad for a TN panel. Of course, I did have to mess around with some of the settings in the OSD, but once I took care of that, it looks fantastic. The FreeSync is A-okay. It just looks absolutely great. So again, quite a deal for 200 bucks. I'm very excited with the performance so far. And I think that's, let's talk about temps. I told you guys I was going to show you the temperatures, so Let me crank the settings, or the brightness down here so you can see. So Core i7, 6700K, overclocked at 4400 megahertz. I played for over an hour, guys, over an hour, and we didn't top 75 degrees Celsius on the hottest core, which is it's just fabulous, guys. And then for the R9 Nano, again, not overclocked, although the power limit was increased, maxed out pretty much. We got 79 degrees Celsius, which I'm happy with. I'm totally happy. If I can put an AMD card in here and it stay below 80, especially in the Mini ITX case, I am a happy camper. So all things considered, I would call this little setup here a huge success. I cannot wait to game on it come tomorrow, or I guess later this weekend, and it should be fun. On a final note, I'm gonna go ahead and pack this stuff up. In particular, I'm gonna actually put the monitor inside of the Rocket carrying bag to give you guys an idea of what that looks like all situated, and then we'll close this video out. And here she is, all suited up. There's the monitor in the case, and to be honest with you, it fits like a glove. It fits really well, it looks really nice, and you definitely get a sense of security with the padding here on the front. It's not super thick, which keeps a slim profile. However, it does feel adequate to protect your panel, your screen, from any kind of accidental horrors, so to speak. One thing I will say, though, is if you are going to buy a monitor for this bag, to get a panel that has a stand that's easily removable, or a stand that can fold up flat. That way you don't have to actually remove the stand and replace it if you're going to be traveling with it as a carry-on, because as a carry-on, I don't think that this is regulation here. I think I'm going to have to remove the stand, pack that up separately in a different bag, and then just bring the monitor itself in the carrying tote. But apart from that, very nice. It even has some stash room here. You've got a zipper pocket for like your power cables, HDMI, video cables, whatever, DisplayPort. Yeah, little pockets down here as well. Whoop. These two straps here are where your keyboard would go if you were to carry that along as well. However, you are going to need a lengthier keyboard in order for that to work. For example, the defective Magic Force here, it's not quite long enough. So 10 keyless boards, probably not long enough to take advantage of that, but all the other ones should be fine. All right, y'all, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this little setup tour of my new LAN station here. I really do enjoy putting these setups together, just anything to help improve my gameplay experience on a PC, whether it be at home or on the road or in a different state for a massive LAN party. Till next time, I'm Kyle with Bitwit. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.